So far we've only been able to move our turtles straight forward or to make them turn at every step at a fixed angle. Let them draw polygons, and when the polygon lines are very short they look like circles. That's interesting for a while, but we're looking for something more interesting behavior. We want to inject a little bit of randomness into the movement of our turtles, and a good way of doing that is to figure out how to create this kind of randomness. And so that's what this video is dedicated to. First of all, I'm going to introduce the random function, which is a mechanism of choosing randomly among a certain small number of numbers. Let us expand the command area so that we're really looking at the results of some commands down here. And the random function is, curiously enough, called random. And you use it by providing it with a positive whole number, like, let us say, 6, and printing out the result. So we're going to ask the observer to print the results of the random function being given the value 6. And the observer has responded with a value of 1. What random 6 will do is it will choose amongst 6 numbers. The numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with equal probability. So there are 6 possibilities, except they start at 0 and end at 5. If I ask the observer to do this again, which I can do by hitting the up arrow on the keyboard to recall the previous command, and then hitting the enter to execute it again, the observer has asked the random function to choose amongst the 6 numbers again, and this time it chose a 5. And this time it chose a 4, and a 2, and another 2, and a 5 again, and a 0. Every time we execute the random function and give it a number, it will choose randomly amongst the numbers from 0 to 1 minus the number we gave it. So if we ask it to choose between 2 numbers, then we'll give it the value 2, and the choices for it will be 0 and 1, and this time it chose a 1, and a 1 again, and this time a 0. We can actually choose. We can actually give the random number any positive whole number that we please. Let us say 100, and it will choose equally with equal probability between the numbers 0 and 99, and this time it chose 20. We can in fact even ask turtles to execute the random function. So let's create, let us say, 10 turtles. And we're going to talk to the turtles. We're going to ask them to show random, let us say, 10. And let's see what the 10 turtles say. Well, turtle 5 says 0, and turtle 0 says 8, and turtle 8 says 8, and turtle 1 says 5, etc. So the random function is very, very useful in injecting some randomness into our simulations. Let's make use of that by creating a new simulation. Again, we'll have the number of turtles, which we can vary from 1 to 20. And now we have a maximum turn angle, which we can move from 0 to 50. And let's put it at 15. Again, we're going to get our turtle to move forward and to turn. That's very much like the leg that we executed last time. But this time, instead of moving forward a fixed amount and turning by a fixed amount, we're going to move forward by a fixed amount but turn by a random amount. But a random amount within a small set of possibilities. And that small set of possibilities is controlled, or will be controlled, by max turn angle. So let's take a look at the code that we already have. We have the setup function, which clears everything and creates a certain number of turtles, sets all of their sizes to 2, and puts their pen down. We have to decide what to do with the go function, of course. The go function is supposed to move forward and then turn by a random angle. So let's go to the code and create the go function. And we're going to ask our turtles to move forward by, let's say, 1 step each time they do it. But this time, instead of turning right by a fixed angle, we're going to ask the turtle to turn right by, say, some number of degrees between 0 and 9. And so we're going to do that. And let's see what happens. Okay, the go function's supposed to call the go routine. And alright, let's set up one turtle and let's make it go. That was way too fast. So let's try that again, except we're going to slow it way down. And now we see that our turtle is turning, but it's turning constantly to the right. And it's not turning in a complete, of course, in an exact circle, because it's choosing some random number between 0 and 9 degrees to turn each time, and every time it takes a step, it chooses a different number. So let's try to equalize the direction that it might turn to the right or to the left, and so that it will not be biased in either direction. After turning right by a random amount, it'll turn left by a random amount. Now these two random amounts might be different. So let's try that. And now, we speed it up a little bit. He's taking a slightly random amount. Okay, but we can, instead of choosing a fixed number over here, we can make that max turn angle and actually control this number using a slider, using this particular slider. And now let's try that with an angle 15, but if we turn the angle down to 1, he moves almost exactly straight, although not exactly. But if we turn the angle up, he's now moving much more randomly, and even further up he's moving much more randomly. And we can increase the number of turtles. We now have 10 turtles. Let's see what they do. And they're going off in all directions at once. Try the exercises now.